Okay, welcome back in, everyone. I'm now going to be reviewing all of Wednesday's action from the NHL, starting with teams you see on your screen as Los Angeles Kings went into St. Louis to take on the Blues. Let's just take a look at the scoring summary and see how this game unfolded. So in the first, Torchenko would score with 2.5 minutes remaining in the period, getting his 13th goal of the year, assisted by Nick Leddy and Walker. In the second period, Jake Neighbors would increase lead 2-0, just a minute and 57 seconds into that period. For Neighbors, that would be his 21st goal of the year, assisted by Falk and Bolduc. In the third period, Brandon Saad would get a goal score sheet over halfway through that period, 9 minutes and 34 seconds to be exact. For Saad, that'd be his 20th goal of the season from Parayko and Kevin Hayes. Kepi would finally get the Los Angeles Kings on the board with 6 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. For Kepi, that'd be his 21st goal of the year from Doughty and Turcotte. Unfortunately for the Los Angeles Kings, they were not able to mount a comeback, so 3-1 would be the final score in favor of the Blues. With that, St. Louis is 34-29-3, and despite the loss, the Los Angeles Kings are 33-21-11, and they're still holding on to that third spot in the Pacific Division. Alrighty, the next matchup took place in the Central Division between the Nashville Predators and the Winnipeg Jets. All right, so teams are on the screen. Let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first, Nyquist would give the Predators a 1-0 lead. For him, that'd be his 18th goal of the year, assisted by Yossi and Juuse Saros. 6 minutes and 38 seconds into that period. With just over 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes and 28 seconds to be exact, Sherwood would increase lead to 2-0. For Sherwood, that would be his 9th goal of the year, assisted by Yossi and Colin Smith. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-0 in favor of Nashville. There was no scoring in the second, so we have to jump ahead to the third period where Philip Forsberg would increase lead to 3-0, a minute and a half into the period. For Forsberg, that'd be his 34th goal of the year. I can easily see this guy getting 40 this season. There's no ands, ifs, buts about it. Assisted by Nyquist and Ryan McDonough. Jason Zucker, the newest acquisition for the Nashville Predators, would get his 10th of the year, assisted by Sissons, and that goal happened just 22 seconds after Forsberg scored. So 4-0 in favor of the Predators at that point in the game. Alex Iafallo would get on the goal score sheet for the Winnipeg Jets with 6 minutes and 48 seconds to be exact, I should say. For Iafallo, that'd be his 10th goal of the year, assisted by Dylan and Namestnikov. Mason Appleton would get a late power play goal for the Jets, decreasing the lead to 4-2. For Appleton, that would be his 11th goal of the year, assisted by Colin Miller and Sandberg. And that goal happened with just 11 seconds to go on the clock, and 4-2 would be where we'd stand at the end of regulation. With that, the Predators are sitting at 38-25-4. They currently have the number one wildcard spot locked in. As for the Winnipeg Jets, after this loss, they're still third in that Central Division with a record of 41-19-5. Alrighty. The next match, I believe, took place in Oil Country. We had the Oilers. They were playing against the Washington Capitals. All right. Let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first, Leon Draisaitl would kick things off for the Oilers 4.5 minutes into that period. A power play goal for Draisaitl. That would be his 33rd goal of the year, assisted by Nugent Hopkins and Connor McDavid. Power play goal to note. McDavid would get a power play goal of his own roughly 7 minutes into that period. For McDavid, that'd be his 25th goal of the year from Evan Bouchard and Leon Draisaitl. Miro Shinchenko would get his second goal of the season, cutting the deficit in half to 2-1, getting the Washington Capitals on the board. For Miro Shinchenko, that would be his second goal of the season. McMichael would tie the game up with a power play goal of his own, roughly 11 minutes into that period, 9 minutes and 5 seconds to be exact on the clock. Zach Hyman would give the Oilers a 3-2 lead, just 5 29 seconds after McMichael scored for Hyman. That would be his 44th goal of the year, assisted by McDavid and Brett Kulak. So after 20 minutes of play, the Oilers had a 3-2 lead. In the second period, Zach Hyman would get his second goal of the game with 5 minutes and 47 seconds remaining on the clock. For Hyman, that would be his 45th goal of the year, assisted by Nugent Hopkins. Hyman would then complete the natural hat trick with just 52 seconds remaining in the second period. His 46th goal of the year from Bouchard and Draisaitl. A power play goal to note. 5-2 for the Oilers after 40 minutes of play. In the third, Warren Foegele would increase the lead to 6-2. For Foegele, that would be his 15th goal of the year from Ryan McLeod and Leon Draisaitl. And that goal happened with 9 minutes and 17 seconds to go. Just 17 seconds after that, and this is a very key moment, Connor Brown would finally get his first goal of the year for the Edmonton Oilers. And if you haven't had a chance to watch it, I highly recommend going on you can watch it on the NHL app or Sportsnet, where fans gave him like a 2-minute standing ovation because they knew how much hard work and how difficult of a season it has been for him. And for Brown, this was his first goal in over 2 years. He played for Washington last year, but only played like 4 games and he was injured. So he had 1 full season without scoring. Prior to that, he played with the Senators. And the last time he got a goal was when he was with the Ottawa franchise. So for Brown, it would be his first goal of the season, like I just finished saying, assisted by Kane and Adam Henry. So a huge monkey off his back, more or less, for Connor Brown. And I couldn't be happier for the guy because all year it was just like he was supposed to be able to have that connection with McDavid, and because they played junior hockey together, but just because you play junior hockey together doesn't mean you're going to gel at the NHL level, especially when you haven't played together this entire NHL career. So hasn't necessarily been a match made in heaven, but I'm sure he's not complaining. A, he's on a team that's winning, and B, he finally got his first goal of the season. So we'll see if this can kind of be like the floodgates opening up. Maybe he can possibly finish the season with 10 goals. Who knows? There's still like 15 or 16 games to go, I believe. But we'll see if this is the start of something, or if he only finishes the season with 1 goal, then at least he can say he got 1 goal on the season. Anyways, I'm rambling on now. Anyways, so 7-2 would be the final score in favor of the Oilers. With that, they're 40-21-3, still sitting second in that Pacific Division. As for the Capitals, they are 33-25-9, and they're attempting to make a push to the postseason, but only time will tell to see if they actually can. Alrighty, the last game from Wednesday took place in Vancouver. We had the Canucks, and they were playing against the Colorado Avalanche. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first, JT Miller would kick things off just 24 seconds into that opening period. For Miller, that'd be his 33rd goal of the year, assisted by Cole and Brock Besser. Mikheyev would increase the lead to 2-0, 2 minutes and 20 seconds after that. For Mikheyev, that'd be his 11th goal of the year from JT Miller and Zadorov. After 20 minutes of play, the Canucks had a 2-0 lead. Zadorov would get on the goal scorer sheet himself, giving the Canucks a 3-0 lead 4 minutes and 23 seconds into that middle period. For Zadorov, his 4th goal of the year, assisted by Garland and Casey DeSmith. Just when it looked like this game might be 3-0 heading into the third period, Mikko Rantanen would finally get the Colorado Avalanche on the board with just 3 seconds remaining. For Rantanen, that'd be his 34th goal of the year from Devin Tays and Casey Mittelstadt, one of the newer acquisitions for the Colorado Avalanche. So after 40 minutes of play, the Canucks had a 3-1 lead. Nathan McKinnon would strike on a power play in the third period, getting his 42nd goal of the year from Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen, just 3 minutes and 19 seconds into the period. Ross Colton would tie the game up, getting his 14th of the year from Miles Wood, 8 minutes and 43 seconds into the period. So at that point, we were all tied up at 3. We would need overtime to settle this one, and Nichushkin would get the game-winning goal just 30 seconds into that period. For Nichushkin, that would be his 25th of the year from McKinnon and Cale Makar. A power play goal to note. So the Avs were down 3-0, managed to tie it up and win the game in overtime. So with the win, The Avalanche are sitting at 42, 20, and 5. They currently hold the number one spot in the Central Division. And despite the overtime loss, the Canucks have first place in the Pacific Division with a record of 42, 17, and 8. All right, that takes care of my recap from Wednesday's action of the NHL. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care.